To this day. To this day.
Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Hi, Bushido Spirit here to talk about Snowfall season finale. But before I dive into that, I want to first give you my top 5 moments, because a lot of these moments I didn't have time to talk about. So I'll go over some of the things that I enjoyed about this season. So please get ready. And if you like what I do, sub to the channel, drop a like, tell me what you think in the comments section below. Let's get this show on the road. Snowfall season 3 left a lot to be desired. It was a slow burn that led to the most unsatisfying finale ever. This whole season felt off. I didn't care about anyone's story except for Franklin's. In previous seasons it was different. Teddy's whole empire was almost snatched right underneath him, but it didn't feel that way. I don't even remember what the hell Gustavo was doing. It's like the writers forgot he existed. However, all was not lost. There was the occasional big moments, which I'll discuss now. This is my top 5 moments.
Get out!
I'll go. It's okay. Just walk.
Don't touch me.
Mel. Mel, no, just stay.
Number 5, Mel being a crackhead. So Mel is preparing to go to college, to better herself, leave the hood behind. But then she got high. That rock hit her ass like a brick of coke, molded into a giant rock for her to smoke. She went from a casual rock smoker to Tyrone. And speaking of Tyrone, crack is hilarious. Despite what it does, the harm it causes the community, the way it makes people look and act is crazy. It's otherworldly. The nervous smile and laughter, the anxiousness, unable to focus your eyes on anything. People become walking Muppets. But I guess that only works for movies, because I've never seen a rockhead in real life, and I never want to see a rockhead. That shit was way before my time. Anyway, I never felt sorry for Mel, because her transformation never made much sense. And also, you don't expect an actress as pretty as Rain Edwards to be one. You assume it's written in her contract. Crack is whack. But I'm supposed to believe she went from a casual crack smoker to level 41. She just unlocked by Felicia. Sure, the party scene is tempting, but given her father's line of work and what Franklin does, like I remember when she first learned that he was selling drugs. He specifically told his crew not to smoke that shit. And it's like she completely forgot about it. And you gotta assume her father at one point or another told her to stay away. But that goddamn rebellious nature, they had to nail her windows shut like a fucking hurricane was coming. Sad, sad, sad times. This caught me off guard, because like Franklin, I thought Mel was better than this. Also, Wanda had the crackhead girlfriend role under control. Franklin needed a change of heart, and Mel was the only one he cared about. He was of the belief that what he was doing wasn't wrong. America dealt him a bad hand. Now it's up to him to create opportunities for himself, even if that meant sacrificing the people he pretends to uplift. Besides, only weak, not strong people fall prey to crack, and boy was he wrong. Seeing someone perfect, someone with a future, being controlled, manipulated, suffering a terrible fate by the hand of crack rock, that shit made him question everything. And this also sets up the redemption arc in the next season.
I quit the agency and I joined Reed, so I'm your contact now. Get used to it.
Number 4, DEA Agent Soledad getting shot. Immediately after Soledad told Gustavo she's working with Teddy, he shoots her in the fucking head. I mean, she did ruin Gustavo and Lucia's life. Almost got both of them killed. Sometimes giving love a chance is not an option. Again, I did not expect this to happen at all. So much so that my original thought was that it may have been a dream sequence, a part of Gustavo's imagination. But her death was a pleasant surprise. I felt like the show already had enough overzealous cops, agents, running around with the existence of Andre and his partner. Also, it would have been extremely hard to make sense of Gustavo's acceptance of Teddy's new addition, given what she did to Gustavo and Lucia. Unnecessary headaches avoided.
Afraid that's gonna have to wait, son. I'm gonna need you to take a ride with me.
Number 3, the question. Andre picks Franklin up outside his mother's house to talk to him, convince him to pull out the fight before the bell rings. The two have this philosophical debate, conformist versus the rebel. Andre wants to show Franklin the destruction he has caused, so he stops the car in front of a crack house. Before he declares war, he wants to see if the boy he helped raise is still alive. So he asked him,
"How you sleeping at night, son?"
Like a baby.
Franklin and Andre face off. This set the tone for the entire season. You could feel the tension in the air. This was Andre's warning shot. He had watched Franklin destroy the community without opposition. He made it his personal mission, responsibility, to reverse the suffering. Only he could fix things due to his position, being one of a few black cops who actually cared about the neighborhood. Franklin saw it as being self-determining, digging himself out of a bad situation, and to impede that is doing the man's work. This is the classic cowboy versus the sheriff. Obviously, Andre's the sheriff. Franklin's the cowboy, willing to break a few rules to see his people succeed. That's essentially what drug dealers are, cowboys. Same as any black suit and tie gangster. Lawless men carving themselves a lane, but not without suffering. What's ignored and what's acceptable? Who decides? The community was already suffering before Franklin, under the thumb of the police. Poverty, but help never came. Where was Andre? We all know Franklin's destroying the community, but he presents a good argument. What are Andre's true intentions? What benefit has his position as an officer done for the community? Does he truly care, or is he jealous? Throughout the season, you continue to ask those questions, and this scene sets all of that up.
Mel.
Number 2, Franklin getting shot by Mel, doing what her father couldn't do, take down Franklin. This is a classic trope in film and TV. The bad guy has an enormous amount of alpha big dog, huge dick energy, narcissism. However, they're too sharp to be toppled by ordinary foes, affiliates. It has to be someone they love, someone they don't see coming. Franklin didn't believe Mel would put 2 and 2 together, that it was him that capped her father, so he played the role. He thought he could be her shoulder to lean on, but he should have known better. Maybe he believed Mel was too far gone, but he was wrong. At the funeral, Mel leaves, so Franklin follows her to her house, and she shoots him several times, then walks away, leaving all kinds of evidence. For the first time this season, Franklin was not in control. He was put into a situation he didn't expect or had answers for, and it was all his fault. Now, they never explained what happened to Mel. Is she in prison? Did they handle that other ways? Or is she back on the streets, hanging out with Wanda?
It's you and me, head to head. And we'll see who's standing. Here's your file. You ain't a fucking killer.
And the number
Get the
one
fuck out of
moment
my
for
house.
me this season was Andre's death. This scene really showed the depth of treachery, the danger involved in the drug lifestyle. Franklin, who is far removed from hazards of everyday gangsterdom, is forced to get his hands dirty. Leon and his uncle both were absent due to the nature of the situation. Andre had Franklin's cliff notes on the CIA and Teddy. Leon and Jerome don't know who Franklin's supplier is. Franklin's refusal to fill them in placed him directly on the front line. This was the full turn of Franklin, the final spiral down the bottomless pit before the floor revealed itself. He is a heel, no more moral ambiguity. He can no longer be confused as the good guy. He killed an innocent man. To me, this was easily the best scene of the season. The ripples of Franklin's decision to kill Andre left an impression. It affected everything. His mother mourned his loss of innocence. Andre had went too far. He made it personal. And seeing Franklin kill him, that was personal as well, but personal in a different type of way. He didn't kill Andre because he was egged on by Andre. It was almost like a mercy killing. Had he not killed Andre, Andre would have probably gotten himself killed by somebody else. He was in too deep. Franklin didn't really want to kill him, even when he was there. He gave him all types of ultimatums, but Andre just didn't want to drop it. And you can't really blame him, given all he's lost. He started this fight trying to save the community. He didn't know he would have to save his daughter as well, that she would fall prey to crack rock. It's also important to take note of how he did the killing. Andre tells Franklin, "I know you're not going to shoot me. You're not about to kill a cop in his own home." And Franklin says, "You're right." So he goes behind Andre. He walks past him and then shoots him. Franklin can't believe it's come to this, so he refused to face Andre before killing him. Also in this scene, Andre still believes Franklin's a good kid. Said he helped raise him. He knows who Franklin is. Franklin killing Andre also marks the end of that kid that Andre knew. He's no longer that Franklin. He's a different person now. Way more responsibility, and he can't turn back now. So that to me was a very powerful scene, the most powerful scene this season. I spent half the season hating Andre. I wanted him to die so badly, but his death didn't feel like a victory. Viewing it through the lens of Franklin especially, it was done out of desperation. Franklin wanted to save everyone, but after this incident and the one with Mel, he knew that was impossible. The cost outweighed the gains. That would have been a perfect way to end the season.
Won't leave a vacuum for sure. Gangs battling over control and territory. And an entire fucking community in ruins. Is that what you want?
And that was pretty much my top 5. Now let's discuss the finale. It was disappointing to say the least. I like where the characters ended at, but wasting more than half an episode on some alternate storyline, it's not something you experiment with for the fucking finale. People are looking for resolutions, not spin-off ideas. Apparently the Snap opened up different dimensions in other shows, not just the Avengers. One positive thing to note was the homage to John Singleton. He died this year, and I felt like that was a beautiful send-off. Stan Lee-esque. Anyway, I know a lot of people are grappling with what it all meant. Why spend time on this alternate storyline, while Franklin soaks in an ice-filled tub, dreaming about what could have been? It's in that moment he realized he needed help, that he couldn't save everyone he loved by himself. Losing Mel and Andre made him realize that. And I felt like that's what that dream was about, because having that as a goal, you gotta be sleep. And as far as digging deeper, the only thing I could pull from it was it's extremely difficult to overcome the situations you were born into. There is no easy way out. We like to push college education as the only acceptable option to uproot ourselves and start anew. But that doesn't work for everyone. And simply being the smartest and brightest doesn't always better your situation. It helps, but not as much as resources and opportunity. And those simply weren't things offered to black people, especially during this time period. Even if Franklin had gone the righteous route, he'd been working for the same people. The devil plays many roles. Evil is just the trump card. Clean or dirty, you end up adhering to the same masters. Franklin went to college and ended up working for Teddy. Franklin sold drugs and ended up working for Teddy. It speaks to how the government plays both sides for the benefit of a select few, at the expense of minorities. The American fantasy. Some people have to be eaten to fuel the dream sequence. If you live in a war zone, maybe that's by design. What better way to build soldiers? Ever wonder why the Army recruits kids from these areas? Same for the CIA. It's hidden in plain sight. There are cities named after places these government agencies frequent. Chirac. And they kind of go over this in the final scenes. Franklin's absence from the streets caused an eruption of violence. Gangs are competing to be the next man up. Franklin's mother and father want to take a break, give Franklin time to rest, but Franklin refuses. He knows what's at stake. It can only get worse from here. Teddy and him meet up, and Franklin lays out his master plan. He vows to regain control and keep it that way, but he'll need the assistance of the government. In return, he'll be their eyes and ears, help them eliminate possible threats. I love this scene. His spirit's not completely broken. Hell, it's not broken at all. He's gained perspective. He seeks a true partnership, not a worker-boss relationship with Teddy. If he's going to exploit his own people, there has to be a bigger benefit. Before, he didn't do the proper calculations. His grandeur cost him more than what he was willing to give up. Now, they could have easily cut episode 10 and combined the last part with 9, just extended the time a bit. But I'm fine with what they did. I enjoyed this season. It started off slow, but picked up towards the end. With the exception of the final episode, every episode after 3 was fire. But again, the show still has the same flaws. Everyone's storyline outside of Franklin's is weak. They're way weaker than usual. Maybe it's the absence of Lucia, but I didn't find Gustavo's storyline interesting at all. Teddy's Superman. I didn't feel for his life at all. I kind of assumed he would make it out. And I think the stakes need to be higher for that character to make me care. And with Teddy, I felt like they would explore his relationship with his father more. But they quickly dropped it after the first couple of episodes. They then tried to convince the audience Rigo was a threat. But nah, Jules comes back, but I didn't really care. Their relationship has been explored in earlier seasons. They try to give her something new and interesting to do, like collapse his whole operation. But again, his life was never at risk because we kinda already knew that she cared for him. And Teddy has a strong sense of duty, so he pushes her away again. He genuinely believes in what he's doing, and everyone around him is starting to understand that. Another thing to note is that Soledad's partner is snooping around. And the last person she talked about was Teddy. And finally, Gustavo spent most of his time trying to hatch a plan to solve their border problems. It involves a tunnel. And judging by what happened in episode 9, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the crux of the operation going forward. So everyone on Team Teddy is making moves, becoming more valuable. They're not just pawns on the chessboard. They're knights and rooks now. I hope this means there's overlap. Maybe Franklin can see Gustavo again. I feel like the crossover would help enhance other character storylines. But that's pretty much it. That's my review of this season. I also want to talk about what happened to Mel, right? She shoots Franklin. I'm assuming Franklin covered it up because he was partly to blame for why that happened. And it's pretty interesting, right? Because the gangs are warring with each other. People are going to war now. And is that due to Franklin and his crew lying about who actually shot him? Do they believe that a rival gang shot Franklin to take over his territory? Because I don't think he gave up Mel. I don't think he said Mel was the one that shot him. Yeah, I hope they explain that in the next season, because that really needs to be explained. It's an interesting route to go. And as far as other characters, Louie didn't really do much. She killed the nightclub owner early in the season. And after that, she didn't really do much. She did go to jail, but that wasn't a major plot point. The same is kind of for Jerome. Now, Jerome, you can kind of tell that he wants out. He's trying to make a legitimate business now. But Franklin keeps pushing for something bigger, something greater. But now that Franklin has went through this ordeal, he may see eye to eye with Jerome. But he does realize that he can't just cold stop. It has to be a clean cut. Leon's still a knucklehead, and I don't know if he's the right type of person to have in a gang war situation. He's always willing to fight. And him not liking Man Boy kind of made business rocky early on. Speaking of Man Boy, he's trying to make a play. He wants a bigger piece of the pie, but he's being patient. And now that Franklin was out of commission, I felt like he was making his move because we see him getting into a shootout with that crazy dude. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm your boy Bushido Spirit. Peace the fuck out. Tell me how you feel in the comment section below. Bye.